everyone. Thanks for listening to Wake Up, Look Up, a podcast where we connect events happening in real time to the gospel of Jesus Christ. I'm Zach Wyrock. And in this episode, we're looking at organic food. And we're asking the question, should we stop riding the wave? Now, organic food was sold to us a long time ago as something we all needed to buy into for two primary reasons. One is that it was healthier. That because it hadn't been sprayed with pesticides and other things, it came to us as a purer form of the food, free of chemicals. This podcast isn't going to deal with that. As far as I know, that's true. But the second reason we were sold organic food is because we were told it was better for the environment. The pesticides and things of that nature actually had a bigger carbon footprint. And a farm that did not use them actually was contributing to a cleaner world. So by shopping organic, we were making the world a safer place. We were pushing back against climate change. As it turns out, at least according to the New York Times this week, that is not true. Carbon footprints of farms are based on a couple of things. The chemicals they use, certainly a factor, but the size is also a factor. Organic farms may not use pesticides, but by and large, they're about double the size of farms that do, which means the organic farm and the non-organic farm have about the same carbon footprint. So shopping organic, eating organic isn't actually helping the climate at all. It isn't actually protecting the environment in the way we thought or in the way we were told. No, I'm not a scientist, and at this point, I'm going to stop pretending that I am. But the New York Times article does bring up something interesting, and it has more to do, I think, with trends than with pesticides. The reality is that as a culture, we like to get excited about something. And when we get excited about something, we like to make a universal rule out of it and then judge our neighbor based on whether or not they live up to that rule. In this case, we like to tell people you should eat organic. If you don't eat organic, you're damaging the planet and that should bother you. And then when they don't do that, we condescend and look down on them for doing that. But it turns out we were wrong. I think there's an important lesson here as Christians. Actually, I think there are three important lessons here. The first, and I've said this before on this podcast, we have to be slow to jump on the trends of our culture. We don't know everything yet. All the facts are not in. As Christians, we should be a little more sober-minded. And just because we're being told organic is good for the environment, non-organic is not, doesn't mean we should be parroting that message. The truth is that for 15, 20 years, people have been saying that, and they were wrong. Trends sometimes prove to be right. Sometimes they prove to be on faulty data. That's the way it goes. But as Christians, we should be careful to not make universal rules out of something we're not 100% sure is true. The second thing is we should be slow to judge each other. You know, there are parts of the New Testament when you read them that don't make a ton of sense to a modern reader. When the Apostle Paul is talking about those who eat meat that's offered to idols and those who don't, those who eat meat with blood in it and those who don't, those can feel like far off conversations. But the principle is the same. The principle is that Christians should be careful about judging other Christians for things the Bible doesn't expressly say is wrong. If your friend is committing adultery and you challenge him, you're not judging him, you're holding him accountable. If your friend doesn't buy organic bananas and you tell him he's wrong for doing that, you are judging him because the Bible doesn't have anything to say about that. And in the past, Christians have made bigger issues out of meat offered to idols or non-organic bananas than they should have. And sometimes we're doing that off information that isn't even right. We should be slow to divide ourselves. And then the third question is, we should be the ones focused on what really matters. We were told organic food was bad for the environment. But actually what science tells us is the biggest food-related cause of the world heating up is food waste. Americans waste, by and large, 1/3 of the groceries that we buy. That food then goes to landfills where it emits all kinds of terrible things and actually does lead to climate change. All that to be said, that we were focused on organic food when we should have been focused on throwing food away. But you see, people sell us organic food. They have a financial interest in us buying it. Nobody profits when we don't throw food away. Nobody profits when we buy less groceries. But if we actually want to be good stewards of the planet that God has given us, we should have been paying attention to food waste and not organic food. That, of course, would require thinking and not just jumping on the wave of the moment, which is what we should be doing. As Christians, we should be slow to ride the wave of judgmentalism, of certainty where there shouldn't be any. And we should be looking for truth. Slow when we don't know what it is, and fast when we do. Let's stop riding the wave. Hey, thanks for watching this video. Make sure you hit like and subscribe to get future content from Wake Up Look Up and from Christ Community Chapel. And while you're here, check out the other videos we have available.